Shiraz got a potential to be all things to all people. It can be everything from a sort of a gentle, easy drinking wine, almost an everyday wine, up to a real serious wine that can age for many years.
Hi, my name is Brad from Boschendal. Allow me to take you on an exciting journey of some of our Shirazes with our winemaker Thinus. Let me go fetch him.
Shiraz really speaks about its origin, where it comes from, the vineyard, the area, the specific vintage. And I think that's what really appeals to me about Shiraz.
Well, Thinus, you got me excited. Take me through your wines.
Well, Brad, first wine, the Pavilion Shiraz-Cabernet, a blend of around 60% Shiraz, 40% Cabernet. It differs year from year, but it's mostly pretty close to that. As you can see on the nose, you know, it's there's that definite that sweet red fruit from Shiraz. It's not overripe, it's not over extracted, so we try to focus on the elegant side. And you'll hear me use the word elegance more than once when we're tasting fruity Shirazes, because I think that's a really important factor to any good Shiraz. It's something that I like to call you know, a wine for all occasions. If you take this, you can take it to a braai on a Saturday afternoon, you can take it to a dinner on a Sunday evening. I think all people will really enjoy this wine. It's a crowd pleaser.
Right, what else have you got, Thinus?
Second wine we'll be looking at from the 1685 range, also a Shiraz-Cabernet, around 70% Shiraz. And this wine, it's a different selection of vineyards. You know, vineyards that we select, where we select the Shiraz for more concentration, for more dark fruit, and we select our Cabernets almost along the same lines. We don't want sort of those green herbaceous side of Cabernet. We want really a full ripe, almost a blackberry-like flavors in our Cabernet that we select for this wine. But always on the nose and on the palate of this wine, the focus for me is that elegant Shiraz that I mentioned earlier.
Lovely juicy mid palate, but still a lot of weight.
Yeah, and what's for me important in these wines, they need to finish well balanced.
Yeah,
I don't want
the
fruit to finish in one part of the palate and the tannin from the oak or the tannin from the grapes to finish in another part of the palate. I want all of it to finish together, you know. And if you have a wine that's balanced, and that's for me extremely important. If you have a wine that's balanced today, you know that wine will be balanced 5 years from now, 7 years from now.
So the first two blends, now you take me through some straight Shirazes.
Yes, from the 1685 range still, the first wine, the 1685 Shiraz, 100% Shiraz. About a year, just over a year in oak barrels, 300-litre oak barrels, sort of between 12 to 14 months. A style that I really like, and I think a style that suits specifically the vineyards where we source our grapes from, is, I like to call it the feminine side of Shiraz. And it's really an elegance. It's a wine that's, when you pick it up, it doesn't jump out of the glass, but it's very layered. You know, there's that classical white spice you'll find in a Shiraz, but there's also nice dark red fruit, something I quite like. And if I find black cherries in a Shiraz, I'm always extremely happy. On the palate, nice and lengthy, and I like the fact that there's a fruit core running through from the entry onto the palate right to the back of the palate. And the tannins, although they're quite firm, they're not aggressive, they're not astringent.
After having tasted those, and now we're getting into your reserves, Thinus, take me through it.
Next, we move to the wine from our reserve range, the Shiraz Reserve, and normally a blend from 1, maybe 2 vineyards. And like I mentioned earlier, the fact that Shiraz is such a great talker, if you can call it that, something that really talks about the vintage, its origin, and where it came from. And in any given year, you just have to listen to what the wine tells you.
Yeah. Well, this is crying out for steak for me. Wow, that is complex.
And also, I mean, this wine being a bit older, being from 2004, you know, it's just something that there's now an additional layer, an additional, you know, part of the flavor profile in this wine. Where on the previous one, a lot of it was primary fruit, primary flavors, maybe some secondary influence from the barrels. on this we have also some tertiary flavors, those that started to develop in the bottle. Nothing brown, nothing oxidative, nothing off-putting, but still, you know, just adding to the freshness. And so now we have a combination of primary, secondary and tertiary flavors all in the same glass, all of them asking, looking for your attention.
Yeah. Thinus, I can still taste that last one in my mouth. What could possibly impress me now?
Well, Brad, you're lucky because I think there's just one wine that can top that, and I have that right here, right now.
Show me.
This is the Cecil John Reserve, as we like to call it, the CJR. And a friend of mine asked me recently to say something about this wine. You know, obviously I made the wine, so I might be a bit biased. You know, who knows? You never know about these things. And I said to him, you know, sunsets are beautiful and newborn babies are beautiful, but this is spectacular. My opinion, as I say, I might be a bit biased, but I'd like to get your opinion on it as well. Another hallmark of a really great wine is, I mean, this wine, it's been bottled a couple of weeks ago, but the hallmark of really great wine is a wine that can be accessible almost from day one. You know, we can rest assured this wine will be an awesome wine 5 years from now, 7 years from now. But it's also just as impressive a wine on day one.
Yeah.
And that's also the adding to the fact that I said balance is the most important thing for me in a wine. Because we know this wine will go the distance.
Well, Thinus, that's been a fantastic journey of tasting through your wines. You know, through your softer, gentlest blends, right up through your single vineyard wines. I've learned a lot about Shiraz. I've learned a lot. It's really impressed me as a grape, as a varietal. And yeah, thank you.
No, Brad, really, it's been a pleasure. You know, I always like to tell people that, you know, Shiraz, because there's so much out there, just find a Shiraz that works for you. Find a style, find a Shiraz, because there will be one out there. There will be a Shiraz out there with your name on it. You just have to look for it.
Yeah.
Cheers.